you talk about that, if you just look at charging a percentage of assets under management, the incentive for the advisor is obviously, and the industry has always said, but we're aligned because, if you grow your assets and, you win, we win. But then when it comes to maybe taking a chunk out to pay for a children's school fees, for example, or university or something like that, then your assets decrease. And so there's a misalignment of incentives. But just at a very broad level, firstly, when you looked at the industry, what was that fundamental flaw that started to rise to the surface to you?
I think percentage-based fees make sense in certain context. And I think what you talk about is, where the industry will say that the incentives are aligned. I think that is true for high net worth individuals. If you're making lots of money or you've got a lot of assets under management and you've given that to an advisor, they're making a decent income out of managing that for you. They're strongly incentivized to do a good job. The reality is, for the vast majority of South Africans, don't have huge assets under management to give to an advisor. So the whole industry has found another way to subsidize that cost of advice. And so I don't see the fault with the advisors. I think what advisors are doing wrong is they're not valuing their own services enough. They're giving away the service for free, effectively, to a lot of people. So you go to an advisor and the planning and the advice portion, which is what they should be doing for you, is sort of thrown in along with a whole bunch of product sales. Yeah. And it's often not the investments that are the problem because, if I've got a few $100,000 to invest, I'm a young person, a few years into my career, that advisor is not making enough out of me to make ends meet. There's no sustainable business there. Yeah. So he has to get his money out of selling me insurance, effectively, because he's chosen not to charge me for his services. So he has to find that revenue somewhere else. And I think the flaw here is you've got a value chain that most of us out there don't understand. And I must say it's something that we as a business have only really been unpacking and understanding under the hood. On the one end, you've got asset managers who run these funds and they're investing and their incentive is to build the fund, build the assets under management because they charge a percentage. But then up the value chain, you have administrators who do all the paperwork and they're managing nominee accounts and they're reporting to SARS and all of those kinds of things. And the easiest way for them to charge was, they'll just tack on a percentage as well. And then the next step in the value chain is your intermediaries and your advisors who are offering a service and should be, spending time with you, understanding your personal needs and requirements, and then charging you for that. But the industry has set itself up that that's not the way it works. They get a percentage, and if that percentage is too low, they have to find alternative revenue streams. And so it's. I think the people who are missing out here, the people who are losing out are financial advisors. Good financial advisors come into the industry, want to do right by clients, and are stuck in this system where to build your practice, you've got to build a book, and to put fruit on the table for the first 10 years while you build that book, you've got to sell insurance.